that we want to be like the man, or we want to...
By whom?
Exactly. And it goes back to those who are GOG and MAGOG, those who are leading the society, those who are in charge. Because if they've got horns, that means that there's got to be a level of power or authority. And it would be, of course, it would be a mindset, because even the thong and those hipster jeans, we don't create no styles, Brother Chris. We don't have any money to generate any styles.
Male-assisted girl on girl.
Exactly. So it goes back to those who are running the environment and evolving the mindset amongst the female and telling us, you know, even through the adverts on the television, brothers and sisters, there was, I can't even remember what the advert was, and it was a woman and a man in the advert, and she was like belittling him to a degree where he was just useless. And she told him, like, in a roundabout way, he was useless. What's that doing? That's making us very, very impatient with our men. So then if I ask you to do something and it's not done, then I'm going to be really impatient, because that's just how it was on the TV. So that mentality and that mindset is being fed to us drip by drip by drip, and we don't even notice.
Drip by drip, man. What you're actually talking about is the battle of the sexes.
Yeah.
And the battle of the sexes is a tool that has been used to assist in the downward spiral of male and female, to put male... That's the two horns that we're talking about. The battle of the sexes, to put the male against the female. So the two are just pointing towards one another. They're connected to the same body.
Yeah.
But they're being turned in and on one another. And if I just go back to my notes, the way in which this unequal sexist world has been set up and is advertised and proliferated in the media led to deep envy in the mind of the 90s lay female. That's a lay female as opposed to conscious sister. You know, worldly woman, worldly girl. Her call was to have equality with men, with what men had allowed himself to have, regardless of the fact that what he was doing was destructive to the soul. Her envy of the fact that he could do this blinded her, allowing her to walk right into hell with him.
Can I just say something? Because I'm thinking about the word envy, and the word envy, it seems kind of deliberate, like someone's doing something deliberately, even though I know it isn't. But it comes across as being deliberate. And I'm also thinking about the female, and about how we've been trapped in an illusion, because what's happened is the man or the male has lied to the female. First of all, in the 1940s, women were encouraged to come out to do national service by getting involved in the war and running the factories and everything else. So that was for a specific purpose and for a specific reason. And it was generally mainly women who were in the workforce.
Yes.
So because they were doing it for an actual purpose, they had a kind of sisterhood spirit that was going on. But when the men came back now, what happened was they had to lay off a lot of women. So they done that 1960s kind of 50s and 60s stereotype of the woman, you know, women staying at home, because what it did is that it allowed the man to go back onto the plantation, into the workforce.
Are you saying that's where the envy stemmed from? Because the women got used to being in the factories and saw that they could do just as well as the men, if not better than the men. Then the men came back and they were pushed to one side. Is that what you're saying?
Well, to a degree, but I'm also saying that it's an illusion, because that idea originated for a specific purpose and a specific reason. After that, it's like the women got a taste for, you know, that so-called, what is termed independence, even though it's not independence. You're very dependent, and you're dependent on your wage, and you're dependent on different things.
Yeah, but it's independent from God and the family. And
independent from your family, yes. But then what started happening is you found that after the 1940s, 50s, that's when the term adolescence and teenage came in. There wasn't no such thing before that, but that was part of the breakdown of the family. But what I'm saying is that we're caught in an illusion, and that illusion being that if you go and work on a plantation, that you're going to feel secure, you're going to be secure, you're going to be more secure than when you were by yourself, because you're going to have your own job, you're going to have your own house, and then no man can do whatever, because you're going to be secure. But that's not security. It's not security. So we're caught up in an illusion. So I understand what you're saying about sisters' envy in the male, but what we're looking for, which is in accord with our nature, is a level of security. We're just looking in the wrong places.
The road to hell, brothers and sisters, is paved with good intent.
So we're not always envious, all right?
But it's still envy.
I hear what you're saying.
envy doesn't require it to not be an illusion. It doesn't require the thing that you envy to be real. It can be a dream, you know. People were envious of Daniel because he could dream, you know. In the book, you know, he had a gift from Allah God. So envy doesn't require the thing that is being envied to be real. But the fact that the envy is there is real. And Minister Farrakhan, if I can just say this part.
Go ahead.
Minister Farrakhan taught us that envy is one of the most irredeemable and destructive impediments to self-improvement. He said an envious person will ultimately kill you for what is yours. Anything that impedes self-improvement must be recognized for what it is, an enemy to the individual, family, community, and nation.
Yeah, but isn't that GOG and Magog mentality anyway? Because
yes, ma'am.
Because it's and you know what? Even with it being a GOG and Magog mentality, brothers and sisters, you know, I'm looking at it and I'm looking at the way that some of the things that we do we're not conscious of because we grew up that way, and just in thinking about racism within the community, you know, the way that you have those stereotypical white racists and how their children grow up to be racist, and they don't even realise that it's racism. They don't even realise that they're racist or that their parents have a racist mentality until they get much older and then start manoeuvring within the society. And that's like the damage, the killing that we're doing to one another. We don't notice that we're hurting and we're killing one another based on the way that we've been grown up and the damage that has been done to us and the damage that we're perpetuating within our families.
Yes, brothers and sisters, we're going to have to come back to being male and female. We have to break out of GOG and Magog in order for us to recognize these things, because the things that we're slowly recognizing in our own development, we have instructional books and we have people in high places who could show us these things from years ago. But because we're waiting for our own development in order to see that we're falling into a trick bag, it's taken us generations to move millimeters. Okay. The impediments to self-improvement. I'll just read out a few and then we'll leave it for next week because we've run out of time again. The impediments are greed, selfishness, envy, hatred, dishonesty, and deception. And in study guide 12, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, you know, got us to look at these impediments to self-improvement. And he said that the 4 great impediments to self-improvement are in that study guide number 12. Jesus was interested in purifying man from the inside, and the law itself cannot do that. Someone has to grow man out of his childlike stage. I use the term childlike because children act for their parents' sake. But the real child is seen when the parents are not around. What is the force that grows, evolves, feeds, nurtures, nourishes? The New Testament is called the testament of love. Love fulfills the law. Man gets a period of grace, and in that grace there is love. If that is rejected, then comes destruction. And that is from the 4 great impediments to self-improvement, which are the great impediment, because there's impediments and great impediments. So the 4 great impediments to self-improvement are racism, sexism, nationalism, and materialism.
And that materialism is another big thing, because there was part of the question time, the Black Question Time last week about mother was about the war or the struggle that we have with materialism versus morals. You know, are we going to sacrifice materialism in order to instill strong morals and principles within our children?
Okay, by Allah's grace and mercy. I thank you this morning, sister, for joining me and struggling with me and spiraling up by Allah's grace and mercy, you know, and kicking aside GOG and Magog. Identifying the bitter fruits, the poisonous fruits that they produce. And this is something that we all must do. But I thank you, sister, once again for being here and striving to be upright on Fajr Show TV. And by Allah's grace and mercy, we'll continue this next time, brothers and sisters. So until then, peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum.
Cut!
Oh, that was interesting.
Wow.
I liked that ID parade.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're something else, you are. That's good. That's good.